bureaucracy's basement, straight to your ears. It's the QCIB, and it's worse than you feared. We survive every night on scraps and on paper. I didn't think of rhymes. I just started doing this. Maybe one day we'll escape from the subterranean hell that is this sub-basement, but until that day comes, this city is not going to improve itself. So here we stay, improving things, and not thinking through the rhyme scheme. This meeting is now in session.
Hey.
Hey.
You had me all set.
I know.
Set and ready for rhymes, and I got nothing.
Well, I had nothing, so I gave nothing.
I told you just needed 2 bars. Just 2 bars.
2 bars. I didn't have 2 bars.
Spit 2 bars, and we're good.
I had that 1/2 bar bit, and that was it. I thought maybe I would get in the groove.
Right.
I thought, I'm just going to go for it. I'll fake it till I make it. But all I had was the fake part.
Right. That's bad advice, actually.
Well, that's right.
If all you have is fake it.
Well, actually, I'll put it this way. I didn't have to fake it. I made it. But then I realized I had to make another batch.
Yeah.
Of rhymes. I had to spit more bars. But I had no more bars to spit.
Yeah.
But I thought it was off to a good start, though.
No, it was. It was an excellent start, and it would have been fine, and nobody would have noticed if I hadn't decided to draw attention to it.
You know, I kind of put a button on it already, so that's okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Oh, you are.
Oh, and Merry Christmas in April to you.
Oh, you
sir.
too. Remember last show you were bemoaning the diamonds that blanketed the city were gone. But they're back now.
I know.
We are in
the
fell
money. From the sky.
Yes.
Yep. No more financial problems in this city for any of us.
Exactly. You know what I used to do with those? I used to scoop them up and put them in our parking meters.
Yeah.
But you can't do that anymore.
No.
No, it's all like
through apps.
You use that weird little rectangular bar that people use instead of phones. Yeah.
And I keep waving my app at the diamonds. I say, look at all this wealth that is about this parking meter. Please let me park. And they say no.
So you're basically like it's Wrath of Khan, not Wrath of Khan, but is it The Voyage Home? Computer.
Oh yes. It was.
Yeah. Is that Scott?
No, Search for Spock.
No,
it wasn't. It was Voyage Home.
It was Voyage
You're
Home.
Right.
As we all know, the best of the bunch.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the only good Star Trek.
Good Star Trek ever conceived in the last 60-some years.
Yep.
All right. Should we do attendance?
We should do attendance.
So you...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I got this. You're Paul.
I am. You did it.
Did it.
Bravo.
I did it. Yeah, see, that whole rhyme scheme thing where it just fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
It was like the Magician's Act where they pretend to drop the coin, but really they've got you in the palm of their hand.
Right.
So I knew who you were this whole time.
Wow.
And I pulled out your name.
It is like magic.
It is a little bit.
What's your name?
I am a local radio personality and AI NIMBY, Aidan Morgan.
Hey, Aidan Morgan.
Thank you. Well, before I came out, my partner said, "Do you know you're a local radio personality?" And I'm like, "Oh, nice."
That's cool.
And I'm like, I do not like to know that, but here I am. So here we are.
Yeah.
And we have a guest.
We do, but we don't have quorum.
Again?
Yeah.
All right. Well, nothing is binding. Everything is permitted. Do what thou wilt is the whole of the law.
Yes. But we do. We have Ward 9 Councillor Jason Mancinelli is here, finally. It's been a long time since you've made it to the sub-basement, sir.
It's been a couple moons. I couldn't find my way through the stairs, actually. I lost once or twice.
Well, there were sidewalks, but we ripped them up because we knew you were coming.
It's caused us cement the whole way, I know. I've been after that for a while now. Luckily,
Gotta
there was a drone to
repurpose
drop
it somehow.
That's right.
Yeah, repurposed.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, there'll be drones to drop us on site everywhere, so it'll be fine.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, just Amazon. Just call up Amazon. Deliver ourselves to various locations.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So how you been?
Not too bad.
So you are now longest term councillor.
Yeah, isn't that a scary thought, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be like the old man with all the wisdom?
Well, I don't know about all the wisdom, but it's definitely not what I envisioned when I started this walk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's been an adventure.
Yeah. It's handy though, because when you I don't know that anybody expected to wind up with a council that was 9 new members, and you need some institutional knowledge to be able to function.
Yeah, I agree. But to be the guy who kind of has, I guess technically the most available, I also have to balance the decision with 9 other people.
Yeah.
And no one ever likes a know-it-all. And so I try to really listen carefully first. And then if I can add something I can remember from a conversation and try to do the best I can as a person to accurately bring the spirit of it forward, to understand that I try to pitch in. But I know I've tried not to, hey, this is this, and this was like this, and I'm trying my best not to be that dude.
Yeah, I've noticed there haven't been a lot of moments where you like push your glasses up on your nose and go, well, actually.
Yeah, well.
Nobody's calling you Councillor Poindexter just yet.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough to be that guy either, so know your limits, right?
Right. Fair enough. So I ran into you this week at SUMA, the Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association Convention. It was, I guess, 3 days this week. Communities from all over Saskatchewan came to town to talk about cities and city building and stuff. What was your overall impression? I've been covering City Council for a long time, working in the subbasement for a long time, never been to a SUMA convention before. I'm assuming you've been to a few. Like, how did you feel this one was?
Yeah, no, I've always taken the time to attend the SUMA convention. I think it's important because I've always believed in that regional cooperation.
Yeah.
And, SUMA is a big event with a lot of representation there. Mm-hmm. Being privileged to be at one of the, largest communities in our province, I think that when I go to SUMA, I like to go there to hear what's going on in a lot of the rest of the province because, we get a lot more news for what's happening here and, it's a little bit more readily available and plus I'm part of it.
Yeah.
So back to it, you get to SUMA, that gives a lot of people who might not see a minister as often or, any representation as often a chance to voice and talk and, look for those opportunities where we can kind of cooperate. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And there's big parties.
Massive parties, man. It's crazy. We're lucky. There's no phones allowed, so they're still safe. But yeah,
what happens is SUMA stays at SUMA.
That's right.
Just a massive crokinole game.
Oh boy, I can't even talk about it. We should just stop it there.
Oh, see, we had Councillor Zakidniak on and asked her the same question. She said there were no parties.
Oh, she would say that. That makes sense.
She doesn't want anything getting out at all.
Yeah, that's right. I better, you guys, you're going to put a hit on me here. Stop that.
So I caught the bear pit on the last day. You were there. One of the things that's noteworthy about my experience of SUMA and the bear pit specifically is how many different communities there are, because it's not just cities in Saskatchewan. It's like villages, hamlets, towns, resort villages. Mm-hmm. So there were like names of places being mentioned that I had never heard of before. But you had some questions about regional cooperation. And you actually asked a question in the bear pit about regional cooperation. I was wondering if you could walk us through what your concern is about, the relationship of the City of Regina to the surrounding rural municipalities, and just how that, what that says about the whole province.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed that our province, compared to our friends and neighbors in Canada, has a lot more representation, I guess is one way to say it.
There's more sub-provincial governments.
Yeah, it seems like over the life of Canada, all the other provinces kind of reorganized into bigger regions, so they could spread assets more wisely, I guess, for lack of a better word. You think of how many people you need to run an office, you think of how many people you need to clear snow and to maintain equipment. And then if you've got an RM and two communities side by side and you're splitting assets, that means everyone's upkeeping something that might sit in the shed half its life, times 3. So, other provinces have kind of reorganized when you're starting to think of what your number one highway is going to be to move material. If you get a couple communities together, you can actually invest in a good stretch of highway that everyone can prosper from and organize according to where the asset's located and all that smart stuff where people want to invest. A region can map that out and put it together more tightly than all these individual RMs and communities. Other provinces have done this. Saskatchewan has as many entities as Manitoba, Alberta, and BC combined. But if you think of population-wise, like any one of those has double our population. Maybe Manitoba doesn't quite have double, but I guess the point's well made.
Yeah.
Another way I could say it is New Brunswick has a politician for every 19,000 residents. So, either a city councillor or a mayor or an MLA or an MP. One of those dudes for every 19,000. Saskatchewan has one for every 1,900.
Wow.
So that dude has to be trained. He has to have some staff to work with. They have to keep minutes. They have to do reports. They have to make recommendations. They have to ask for funding. They have to organize where that funding is going to go. And that's all happening in all these little tiny silos and pockets throughout our province. Right. And then they have to compete against each other to actually get something off the ground and working. And then they all have to do this in a time frame that matches up with things like grant availability and work availability. If you set out a procurement for a mile of highway, I'd imagine it'd be a lot more expensive to assemble than if you sent out procurement for 10 miles. So you start to think economies of scale. When the province starts to talk about efficiency and trying to get things done, that's why I asked the question that way. I don't think Regina should all of a sudden be this big entity that just takes over a whole region. That's not what I'm speaking to. Sure. But on the flip side of things, on the edge of Regina, where we have pockets of really starting to be fair density cities and stuff, well, we should really be planning how our water distribution goes so we don't have 5 different water maintenance plants or wastewater maintenance plants or fill in the blank fire departments.
Right.
We have RMs with fire departments side by side, each competing for equipment, and keeping that way just because it's like Hatfield-McCoy sometimes mentalities. I hope that makes sense to everyone. Mm-hmm. That was that Flintstones reference for the people listening. If you don't know, Google it and watch it. It's worth watching.
Through council, you get a lot of these agreements for fire service and water service with the surrounding communities. I don't have a really strong sense of sort of the bigger picture. How would you say Regina's relationship is with the RM and Emerald City and Emerald Park and White City? How are we doing?
So 10 years on council. Right off the bat, I stepped up to become part of the Moose Jaw Regina Industrial Corridor, which is like Grand Coulee, Pilot Butte, Regina, Moose Jaw, arm of Lumsden. Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but you're getting the idea. It's RMs and municipalities mixed to be a regional planning effort. And it was good for communication and cooperates quite well and the right idea, but it's... the arm of Lumsden and Moose Jaw just had a problem trying to figure out a landfill situation, right? Regina has a regional landfill. There's people trucking waste all over the province from, I believe, Pilot Butte out to by Yorkton to dispose of. Do you see where that kind of goes with all these entities? We should maybe be all taking part in organic waste and getting our streams correctly and taking advantage of Regina's landfill and trying to plan for the region. Yeah. And then having those monies put forth properly for the future. And, the arm of Lumsden wouldn't be in a problem with the Moose Jaw. We'd have proper transfer stations built because we'd have good planning going through. Yeah. Those are the kind of concepts I think that we have to embrace.
Right.
Big words, but that means you have to get down to talk and you have to have some kind of reason to have to do it. And that's where I think the province has to push a little bit to get this closed down.
Yeah.
You can take that and you can put it at wastewater. You can take that and put it to roads, that kind of concept transfers through. So no, I don't think we should be the overlords because we're a bigger city. I just think we only have so many assets to go around and we have to use them a lot more wisely.
I got a slogan you can use if you're trying to have a movement for this. One Saskatchewan, one dump.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Don't think that'll go over well. Are you
trying to take over Just Bins here or what? What's going on, Matt?
Hey. Ooh. And we had a problem with our organics recycling, or what do you call that word that they do to organics?
Oh,
composting facility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a problem with that where we thought everything was all set up and then the RM voted against.
Well, see, right now we're kind of set up to be a region in a way. Regina's industrial lands are industrial, but they have access to really 3-phase super-duper electricity and non-potable water and some wastewater if needed because we're in the city. So if you have a manufacturing business that needs that, you'll want to buy a lot that has access to all that stuff, right? And if maybe you're not really needing that much manufacturing for water and wastewater, Well, you start to look at the industrial lands that are more in the RM of Sherwood and the RM of Emerald Park.
Yeah.
And they have industrial land set aside for that zoned, and that would have fit composting.
Mm-hmm.
But when they went to take advantage of those industrial lands for those zonings as a kind of a reasonable thought, because, there's other investments are for more technical, that's when the switch around happened, and then we ended up with a First Nations partner.
Right.
But, the whole interim and the egg on your face, and so every year we have to set aside literally millions of dollars for decommissioning and environmental on the dump.
Right.
When we started up organics, we pulled, my numbers are made up for just getting a point across.
Sure.
They're not correct, but intentionally they're correct. We pulled out 30% of the mass going to the dump to be composted. So now, instead of having a 20-year lifespan and setting aside $2 million a year, you now have a 32-year lifespan, and you only have to set aside $1.3 million a year.
Right.
That's tax dollars, and that's having the same amount of waste, just repurposed, right?
Yeah.
So to throw a wrench in that when we have all these financial hazards at us and everything else, and to make it harder and incrementally more expensive, that's every time that happens, that wastes away tax dollars. You have to rejig your plan. These people all make big dollars. You're putting something aside. You're setting up different lands. This is all work with graders and equipment and engineers, and it's a lot to go through, and egg on your face.
Yeah. And there was a bit, on social media, it's surprising how, people catch on to stuff like that, because, it runs in the newspaper or whatever, but there was, this, why do we even bother with this? And, the city can't do anything, and, everything sucks. And it's all because, a deal fell through on a composting facility, and it's it all comes down, I think, to the annoyance about having, a third bin.
It's hard to change things, eh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, I always like to learn as I grow, and it makes pretty good sense that if you're going to make a mess, you clean it up. So it's trying to do.
On the bright side, the egg on your face is compostable.
Yes, it is.
We're on 91.3 FM CJTR, AccessNow Community Radio in Regina, and we're the Queen City Improvement Bureau here with Ward 9 Councillor Jason Mancinelli.
We are also tuned into your community.
Are we?
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes. Is the community tuned into us, though?
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Yeah, they enjoy local radio personalities as much as the next person.
That's true.
That's true.
As much as the next person.
Right. Whoever that person might be.
Yeah. So the latest bit of cooperation that's going on right now that I've been hearing a lot of questions about is the AI data center in the southeast. And this is, I think they said 300 megawatts, but these are numbers that mean nothing to me, so they will not stay in my head. But it's supposed to have...
It's going to be a lot of watts, is what I think we can say.
Megawatts.
A lot of megawatts.
Yeah.
Megawatts, indeed.
Mega, giga.
Gigawatts.
They're saying when at full build out, it's going to have the data center, but it's also going to have a renewable energy system, a private Sask power linked electrical substation, future natural gas plant. And the construction is supposed to get started in the spring, if that ever comes.
The spring?
Yeah. The spring.
If the springtime still comes around. That's right.
Yeah. So, and I note that the City of Regina decided to not do its usual. Can you explain to me what is the City of Regina's contribution to this and our involvement in this? Because it is happening in the RM of Sherwood, which is on our border, but we're not actually in charge of this.
Yeah, I believe something like that comes basically to reviewing whether there's any access problems, road-wise. Or something directly to the city, not our property. And there again, back to that regional thing, there is no regional hard-lined agreement.
Right. So
yeah, there's nothing of direct conflict. So it's kind of in the arm of Sherwood. I honestly don't have any extra awareness. I'm kind of...
You have no secret inside scoop?
Well, I do, but it's kind of like SUMA.
Dang.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm not a social media guru.
Okay.
I tend to hate on it a little bit more than anything.
Oh, no.
And AI...
First we've heard of it.
Yeah. I'm sure that some of the calculations needed to do some of the work we need to do could be done by supercomputers or quantum computers with AI technologies. But these language models they've been raving about and talking about and this and that, wow, it's Y2K all over again. It's like, yeah, right. If they maybe took the smartest people in the world and populated the information from their intellectual genius, and then applied things, I'd have a little belief. But man, I've seen Facebook. I'm not on it all the time, but I certainly hear a lot about it.
If you want the statistical average output of everybody,
when you take out the general intelligence of what goes on the internet, I'm not too scared of artificial intelligence. It's artificially stupid.
Okay, all right.
Actually, I bet if you took all of the large language models and put them together, they would just generate an endless discourse about, like, Star Wars. That'd be it. It'd be just like weird fandom debates. That'll be it.
Actually, when you put it that way, it might be Star Trek, and they might actually figure out teleportation.
Hey, okay.
It makes the cell phone look like nothing.
They get bogged down arguing about whether it was an actual copy of the person or whether they killed the person and then reconstituted. It would never end.
It wouldn't.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway.
Synapses would never fly.
Exactly.
So I guess I would, like, when I look at this, I worry because there's like a lot of hype about this data center, biggest in Canada, make us a center of AI research. They say
would really put us on the map.
It will put us on the map, and I vaguely remember dialogue like this from not too long ago about us being the protein supercluster of Canada, and that all of these canola crush facilities were going to revolutionize industry in Regina and put us on the map.
Really put us on the map.
Canola.
Kind of like
and I feel like that has kind of sputtered and petered out. I feel like we're like jumping on another like big industrial train to nowhere.
I can't say as I really disagree with you to an extent, but I have taken something from this that I think makes it actually believable and something that's going to materialize.
Okay.
And that would be Canadian data.
Okay.
Notice a lot of the talk about the U.S. data centers and this going on, and our data isn't Canadian data right now. It's and in today's world, that I believe is another danger.
Yeah.
So I think there's an actual important investment here, and if we were going to use some type of AI machines to dissect data because it's so plentiful now and correlate it and everything else, yeah, it'd be nice to have Canadian people having those skills and talents, being able to build those type of AI machines and look after Canadian data.
Sure. Keeping that secure.
To me, this is like somewhat like the CRTC to an extent, because it's intellectual property, future intellectual property, I guess, for what you build. And to consolidate that for Canada, I think, is important. So I think that there's a piece of that here that's really, really important. That means that I like AI. It's a bunch of hype, but that's still going to be around tomorrow, I think.
Right. That's actually, I think that is a really good point. Yeah. It doesn't turn me around on the whole having a giant data center next to the city bit, but I do understand where you're coming from.
I'm also interested in going to the renewable side too. When they mention that, we never tapped the ability of our generation for solar, especially.
Yeah.
I look at Evraz. They've built large transmission lines to Evraz to supply electricity because it's one of the few coal-fired or electric-fired steel plants.
Yeah.
There's countries in Europe investing to build those right now to get off of coal to be able to build green steel. And yeah, we have the second best solar in all of North America, and electric-fired at steel plant, and we haven't even tried to harness a little bit or offset a little bit for just even if you wanted to like just put a good news story out there or something.
Yeah.
I think that those type of opportunities, this data center could kind of go that way to an extent. There's lots of ways we could have offshoots of this for real positive future moves that pave the road. I know we have to have a base energy source that in Saskatchewan will be coal, and it will fire that data center, and that's the way it is. And maybe that's not everyone's green choice, but incremental smart adjustments and proving out technologies and moving them forward with opportunity, I think that's how we get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I learned at SUMA, we're going to be a nuclear province.
It's great. Super great.
Super great.
Yeah.
Small modular reactors. Is that the future?
That's the future.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways,
buildable technology. We're humans. There was nothing like this when we were crawling out of the water. We put our minds to something, we get it all done. I guess just we have to consolidate.
I don't know if crawling out of the water was such a good idea anymore.
Primordial cesspool, whatever it was.
We should just stayed. Should have just stayed and floated. Anyways, we have to go to Innovative Revenue Tools.
Good.
And we will be back in a moment. And we're back from Innovative Revenue Tools.
Hello, Paul.
Hey, how you doing, Ed?
You know what?
What?
This coming Earth Day, Wednesday, April 22nd, second. Like a little echo.
I like that.
Is it building to like some curiosity?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
How about you, Jason? Are you on the edge of your seat?
I am, but don't you guys have an echo button or something?
No,
No.
I wish.
We sold it for sandwiches.
That's right. Yeah, with our sandboard, we had to hawk our soundboard. Anyway, Wednesday, April 22nd. Join AccessNow Radio for the 10th annual Wetlands Project. Tune in from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. to hear the sounds of 5 distinct ecoregions throughout Saskatchewan and listen your way through boreal forests, marshes, and grasslands. Only on AccessNow Radio. Listen live here at 91.3 FM. That stands for frequency modulation in Regina or online at accessnowradio.ca. People don't know. People gotta know. Also, from April 20th to 24th, the Access Green Team is collecting waste electronics at Access Communications headquarters at 2250 Park ST. That stands for street. All of the proceeds from electronics recycling go towards tree planting and other green initiatives.
Brilliant.
That's it.
That's good news.
That is good news. I think that's pretty fun.
I also have a thing on my desk.
Oh.
Aiden.
Yes?
Have you got your Dark Hall 50/50 raffle ticket yet?
Why would I do it? Give me one good reason.
Because you're running out of time. You only have until May 4.
Oh, okay. That's a good reason.
Yeah, and all the money that goes into this will go to support the artists and the art that is produced at Dark Hall, specifically the Dark Hall Presents series. Mm-hmm. And, well, half of it does. The other half, if you win, goes back to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'll help me stay on that grind set mindset.
Yeah. Grind set mindset. That is how people describe you.
Yes.
That Aiden is on his grind set mindset.
Exactly.
Not me, man. I'm on a wine set.
Oh, nice.
Anyways, to get your tickets to the 50/50 Dark Hall raffle, you go to rafflebox.ca. Look up Dark Hall, and that's dark with an E.
Yes.
At the end, not in the middle. Don't get that wrong again.
It's not Dark Hall.
Dirk.
Dark Hall. It's Dark Hall.
Yeah.
Have a glass of Dark Hall.
And also, just, huge thanks to Dark Hall for supporting community radio, AccessNow Community Radio, and our show, the Queen City Improvement Bureau.
Yes.
Last thing to bring up is the Jane's Walk coming up May 1st to 3rd, 2026. That is where, in honor of Jane Jacobs, people put together tours of their communities to point out the things that they value or are interested by, find funny, amusing, or cool in their community. You walk around, you look at all the cool, interesting, fun things, and you'll learn about your community by walking through it. And if you have a tour that you would like to put together, you can do that. You can put together your own Jane's Walk. Go to janeswalk.org and look up Regina, or email janeswalkregina@gmail.com and talk to them about it.
That's actually not what I thought Jane's Walk was.
What did you think it was?
I thought we would lure in a stranger to the city, then dress him up as Jane Jacobs, set him loose and hunt him, and then put him in a big wicker man at the end of the hunt.
No, that's Jane's Hunt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's in autumn.
A great big wicker man.
Yes.
Just put him in there. Oh, well.
I think it's a big wicker Jane.
Wicker Jane. And it will guarantee urban renewal for the next season.
Yes.
Yep. with fresh new paved roads.
Exactly.
And farmers markets and so forth.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sounds like a Jane addiction.
It does, doesn't it?
Nice.
Councillor Mancinelli, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
But we now have to get on to a subject that I've been wanting to talk to you about for a very long time. That's concrete.
I bet you've just been hardly waiting for that one, eh? Who wouldn't want to talk about concrete?
Dreading and looking forward to. So you have this motion. The report should be coming soon, and it is about how do we reduce concrete use in the city by 20%. And you've raised rightly that concrete per bucket is a much more sort of like carbon intensive and energy intensive building material as opposed to, say, asphalt or wood.
And 10 times the cost.
And 10 times the cost, yes. Nice. It's extremely expensive. And so you want to look at how do I bring it down by 20%. And one of the ideas that was bandied about at council multiple times is reducing the number of sidewalks and reducing the number of meridians. And I ran into you and I mentioned that if we ever get on the radio together, we were gonna come to like rhetorical radio blows.
Come to radio blows.
Yes,
over the concrete.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm a big fan of sidewalks, and you were suggesting maybe we could like not build like for like and have fewer sidewalks in future.
I did say that, and I'll go into that in a second, but sure. The motion actually was about concrete.
Yep.
Number one, the amount of boulevards that we build out of concrete, and then put our salty snow on and nail with the grader, because they want to get them clean, get beat up and make 5 years before they're torn apart with rebar sticking out. I noticed Broad Street used to have boulevards, and now they have that left turn lane that works slick as can be. To try to replicate that instead of those boulevards, or have another feature to deviate traffic when you might have a left turn coming that you don't want people to make a left at. Alternative measure that's not so intensive and costly. I think going forward would be smart. Everyone knows about the budget. It's been painful. It ain't getting any better in the future.
Yeah.
So to try to get our head around that would be, I think, pretty in the right frame of mind. I've also noticed in my time on council that people would like clean sidewalks. And it's okay to have the shoveling bylaw, but with windrows and snow, even when you shovel the sidewalk, they seem to build ice on them with their freeze-thaw cycles that we see with climate change coming through now quite a bit. Yeah. Snow storage is a problem, and I don't think we'll be able to actually do snow removal anytime in the near future in Regina as part of our snow maintenance budget, because when you come by with a grader and pile it up on the edge of the streets, 2-3 graders does the widest street in the city. Yeah. When you go to remove it, you need a grader, you need a couple of bobcats, you need a snowblower attachment, you probably need 3 or 4 semis for every snowblower. It's hugely labor intensive, and we won't have budget money for that anytime soon. So, snow storage in the winter would be one. Parking. We fight for room in the city to properly implement multimodal transportation. I believe that we need more multimodal transportation.
Right.
And I think we should be looking at parallel travel streams, not necessarily trying to find magic room on Albert Street to incorporate everything on Albert Street. I think we should look parallel paths and do it smartly and well planned. When I look at areas like where I represent, Maple Ridge, Northern View West, West Hill, Fairways West, all the way back from the late 70s, early 80s. They implement sidewalks in many places on only one side of the street. Some, no sidewalks on quiet crescents. I'm sure that's due to cost and spacing. The neighborhoods that are getting rebuilt most readily in our city are those in the interior city. I notice they have sidewalks on both sides of the streets. They have narrow street problems, they have parking problems, they have snow storage problems. I think it'd be nice to have the city clean the sidewalks instead of people. I think it'd be nice for winter snow maintenance to be able to have a good place to store the snow. And I think it'd be nice to have a little room for parking and multimodal. We're not going to make this space out of magic.
Yeah.
So to actually realize that as we put in sidewalks on both sides of, say, 14 Block Arthur, that someone might not walk down one side of that sidewalk for a whole day, right? To bring costs down for construction for the city as a whole, to bring down the kilometers of sidewalk so we can start to look at and incorporate some type of winter maintenance cleanup, and to incorporate snow storage and multimodal, to balance all those ideas against the cost of concrete and future planning is what I hope to come through with this motion. There's a lot of pieces in there, but there's a lot of problems too. You can't just have wants without some type of gives and some type of solutions. That was the meat and potatoes of that motion. I don't think we should never build sidewalks again. I just think that, like I said, to make room for what I'm describing on a lot of the square-cut interior city streets that were just built that way out of form at the time, to replan and repurpose and then plan further, it'd be nice to get doing that and save some money, to have money to do all the things I talked about by saving it from the concrete.
See, I object strenuously to a lot of that. I get exactly where you're coming from, and I totally accept, the environmental cost and the actual cost in gold bullion that we have to pour out for concrete. But I think where I have trouble is the neighborhoods that have the sidewalks on both sides of the streets are better neighborhoods, right? Like for somebody who walks all the time and takes the transit all the time, and because we have such wide streets, asking people to only walk on one side of the street, and when I go out to neighborhoods like there's parts of Harbor Landing where they only have sidewalks on one side of the street, it is very noticeable how much more arduous a walking trip is, and how many walking paths there are across people's lawns that have been beaten down over time by people who are just well, I'm walking here anyways, or the number of people who are walking on the street. And I think if we want to build a city where people have multimodal options, and by multimodal that's not just cars, but also bikes
bicycle,
and skateboards and yeah, exactly.
I'm good. I've been a councillor for a while. I got that one.
I was
I know we're on radio. We're on radio.
But you can't age in place if you wind up on the side of the street that doesn't have the sidewalk, right? Because you can't get into your wheelchair or your scooter or go down the street on your walker, because you will have to cross your street. And even in the suburbs, I've heard all the stories about how narrow the streets are in Harbor Landing, but I've been to Europe, man. They've got narrower streets, right? Our streets are incredibly wide compared to many other municipalities around the world that somehow make these things work. Even some northern ones, like in Norway and stuff, where they get not as cold, but much more snow.
Do they have a Cummins 4x4?
Do they have a what?
A Cummins 4x4?
I have
a
no idea
big Dodge
those words
4x4 or a 24 Chev Silverado.
So why do...
Okay, that's a consumer problem.
I know it is, but that's how our city lives, right? And we got to build our city for how it actually is. Personally, I don't drive those kind of vehicles, so I'm not advocating for, but we have to plan for what's actually here. I don't think that's the smartest thing to buy when gas is $1.80 a liter, right? And maybe all it does is carry you back and forth to work. Not for this guy. But all the same, when I go to a parking lot or when I go to Albert Street, that's what I see.
So, but sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I understand. You kind of have to build the city that for the people that live there,
but
right?
I said that more just because of the European comparison, right? But to my point, I guess we have things like Vision Zero coming through.
Yeah,
we kind of went through this a little bit in the Cathedral area, 13th Avenue. Boy. Right?
Yeah.
That's a walking thoroughfare. It was designed to be a vehicle thoroughfare. When we went through the debate, I think the character of 13th was well defined on why it should be a slower capacity street.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think that carried as well over to 14th.
How do you mean?
Well, like I said, if we're going to build our city of equal throughout, if we took and made everything in the city the same as the cathedral right now, there'd be no arterials through any of North Central, right?
Okay.
4th Avenue, 7th Avenue.
Yeah.
There'd be no traveling between Louvain and Albert except at 40 kilometers an hour.
Right.
I live in Maple Ridge. If I took that through all the neighborhoods I have to go through to get to, that's massive. I would be taking massive amounts of extra time to commute. It'd be a pretty arduous journey without any type of arterial planning for what they did in Cathedral, right?
Yeah.
On the same token, I think that a slower speed limit on quieter residential streets is probably something everyone in the city would enjoy too.
Yeah.
I think as they go forward, they should try to kind of balance arterial to quiet residential a little bit more throughout more places, just as good planning.
Yeah.
And with that, the street should be properly set for speed limit and used that way. And the streets that aren't set that way, that would be quieter, should probably become some of the bulb outs where you try to choke at the sidewalk to make a pedestrian passage a lot easier.
Yeah.
And the street within is just a normal street still, right? So if you had that kind of a thought and you implemented the sidewalk idea, this isn't like a free-flowing street. It's quite a residential street.
Yeah.
If you're going to start to plan, you should start to plan. I'm not saying this is how Regina has to be, but you kind of challenged me to express an idea on how it could work and have money saved and why it could still be walkable. I'm just trying to give a description on how that could happen.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's how you plan things through that make things happen.
I think if something's going to be walkable, though, you need sidewalks, and you need sidewalks on both sides of the street. That's my position, and I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're not going to budge me from that.
No, I get you. But like what I'm getting to is right now we don't have anywhere to put our snow, and we have a parking problem as well, and we have a problem getting to everything, and we don't do street cleaning to what people feel comfortable walking on. We have to change something to get that all in line so the comfort comes. Maybe that means making a bit more room so you can do the proper cleaning, so it's not hard to cross the street because there's not a windrow, if you follow me, because you got better storage, and you can do what you need to get done. But that's for others to plan.
Okay.
Mine was just an idea and a possible tangent that might come from it that I thought might be worth investigating.
Where I have trouble with this is I do find it kind of hilarious, actually, that the roads are defined by where the cars are going to go. And so we have, we'll take Cathedral, for example. Every north-south street, every east-west street is a street for roads that have sidewalks on either side of the street. And what we're proposing here, notionally, is that, well, let's say we will rebuild a street that only has a sidewalk on one side, and then they'll give another lane for cars. But the thing is that the cars are of the multi-modes of transportation. They're the one that's powered, heated, has an MP3 player so you can listen to your podcasts. And we are basically saying, okay, every single road will be as convenient as possible for the cars. The vehicle that is the most convenient and warmest to drive in. And the people who are actually suffering in the cold are the ones who have to skip every other street, right? So we're actually making it harder for cyclists, harder for pedestrians, who are the ones who are arguably the ones suffering the most to get around in the wintertime, and who have to get around using their own muscles, and they don't have any petrochemicals fueling their journey. And so we're slashing the number of routes that they have access to, while widening or increasing the number of routes that the powered vehicles have. And that's where my objection kind of rests.
But I don't know why I'm slashing the number of routes. Where do you get to that?
Well, if you have a sidewalk on only one side of the street, that means you have to get to a sidewalk, you have to travel. Right now, what is it? A street is 50 meters wide or 30 meters wide or something like that. I'm pulling a number out of my butt, but it's tens of meters wide. And so instead of having to travel those tens of meters to get to the other side of the street, because that's more convenient for where you're going, you have to travel an entire other block, right?
And this seems like a small thing if you're just I got to walk out. But if you take it on the level of population, and particularly with an aging population, which is what we've got, then it becomes, then you end up with basically people stuck in their homes, sometimes for entire seasons. And I think that's where I learned.
I guess, and I think it's the area right now. So just to kind of be clear with this too, Cameron Street might only have a sidewalk on one side, right? But once you got to 13th or Victoria, there'd be sidewalks on both sides. Your travel to a sidewalk on Cameron Street, if you were mid-block, might be across the street to the sidewalk and then onto your adventure wherever you're going, right? It's not miles and miles. Off the hop, if you were in place, yeah, you know what? There would be a couple of weird ones for sure.
Yeah.
But to have solid planning going forward on expectations and knowing what you got, and knowing that if you live at a house with a sidewalk that the city can afford and has proper assets to clear and take care of and all seasons and everything, that would be pretty valuable to me, especially if I had decisions to make based on accessibility needs and stuff. I would really...
So, hang on.
Very valuable.
But you're saying that people have to be making these consumer decisions about where they're going to live based on, the access to transportation networks. But we just have to, everybody has to, kick into the tax pod so that anybody can buy the biggest, fattest truck in town, and we're going to build for the biggest, fattest trucks and provide parking for the biggest, fattest trucks and the widest roads for them. Yeah. And so we're not going to say, oh, well, maybe that's a consumer choice that people have to rethink, but we will on where they're going to choose to live based on the amount of transportation.
I'm not trying to really rebuild. I made a comment to the biggest, fattest trucks because I see a lot of them on the road, and you got to kind of see what's out there now.
You see where I'm coming from.
I do,
though.
But I don't know what the future holds necessarily, right?
Yeah.
And I'm more after it for cost controls and increased levels of service, because all of a sudden you have kilometers of sidewalk that you might actually be able to put a plan together to look after at some point. Right now, I know by how many and how much resource we have, it's unfathomable. But like I said, maybe if you started to trim down on both sides and replan and set your service levels and try to set a goal, I'm not saying it could be done. But over and above that, crazy sidewalk talk aside, there's no reason why a sidewalk has to be made out of concrete.
There we go.
It's 10 times the cost. Yeah. Maybe it looks aesthetically pleasing, but man, it scraped away everything. Huge mill rate increase. Nothing, no problems are going away.
Yeah.
I'm not scared to rejig my thinking for aesthetics as opposed to cost and getting the job done is another outcome from this. But the sidewalk conversation, like I said, I really think we need space to get things done that we talk about, and concessionary thinking is the only real way that gets anything done.
That is, you're not wrong. Yeah. We should talk about Scar Street, though.
No.
No,
we have to talk about how we're on 91.3 FM CJTR, AccessNow Community Radio.
Is that broadcast on Scar Street?
No, it is not. Many, many meters underground. We're the Queen City Improvement Bureau with Councillor Jason Mancinelli and Scar Street. Yes,
Scar Street. Because we're kind of running short on time, and I've been wanting to hear about this for the last 20 minutes. Now we're talking about sidewalks. Come on. Anyway.
Yeah.
So let's launch
what
this.
did you want to say about Scar Street?
Well, about a year and a half ago, there was a bit of talk about Scar Street. It kind of became a topic, and the whole debate came from a really black and white viewpoint of should we have traffic on, or should we have cars on Scar Street or not? And I remember hearing on CBC that morning when the debate kind of started, it was framed almost like we were going to open Scar Street to traffic like Albert Street is, or else we had to have it pedestrian.
Yeah.
And there was no concessionary thinking or talk. And then because there was such a large backlash against it, because who wants to drive cars down Scar Street, it was no, we can't never do that. And I just thought that there was a lot more nuance to that conversation that got missed, and maybe a little bit of opportunity in a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say, Queen City Improvement Bureau provided a fair bit of nuance on that subject, and I actually was almost driven out of town by people with torches because I fell on the let's open it up to cars side of the Scar Street debate.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you.
Okay.
But there again, I don't want to say let's open it up to traffic.
No.
There's kind of strength in words here.
Yes.
I think that, Scar Street is a pedestrian mall. It should be that way. We should keep it that way generally as a statement, especially during daytime hours, work hours, middle of the afternoon. But on the flip side, if we're coming to that point where it has to be freshened up, instead of putting a large art scale project in the middle of it so you can never move anything down the center in terms of a vehicle, I think we should plan it to be a little bit more multimodal, so that maybe we have great patio attributes on the side and a great pedestrian mall during the day, but maybe there's a little meandering creek for a car to wind down at night after hours, so when you go to the Globe Theatre with Grandma, you can take the bullards out at nighttime, and someone with accessibility can be dropped off closer to the doors, meandering down this little creek spirally way, not driving traffic through.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you're out for a couple of drinks at one of the nice establishments there and it's time to go home. If you've ever done anything on Scar Street, it's no fun trying to wait for your cab or your Uber in the middle of winter, walking to the edge and trying to figure out.
You're not wrong.
right? To allow a little bit of concessionary thinking and multi-use that way.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Scar Street should be a traffic street, but I think it should be replanned to allow a little bit of access in the way I'm describing, or even for deliveries at the odd time.
Yeah, that's one thing. I know that the business owners on Scarth Street would appreciate deliveries and pickups from from the front, as opposed to dealing with the alleyways and the
even
back.
with a group of people to walk and get the car and bring it back from parking to pick up your group or your crew or whatever. I just thought that conversation became very binary right away. It was like everything else, and a lack of nuance, kind of like when we got off concrete. There's lots of in betweens along an adventure, and
There's also, and I think the Globe would appreciate it as well if there was like a place for short buses to pull in, so that groups of seniors from somewhere or students can get off instead of parking on 11th, which is a narrow street. Well,
and believe it or not, I might have picked some of this up by hearing some city planners talk. I said, when I heard it before, I heard lots of university students kind of sounding off and really making it only pedestrian. And I thought, geez, I guess that's academic to experience. Like the city planners had a lot of the same concepts, but they were trying to work this into, being a bit more versatile and forward moving for how things are going that way. Yeah. But I just thought that conversation got totally hammered on immediately instead of hearing the whole story. And I thought, I can't think of many people who wouldn't really enjoy, if they were going to the Globe, being able to do something like that, or catching a cab that way instead of walking to the ends of the world for where your pickups are and things. Yeah. So I hope we have that conversation a bit more openly in the city before something really gets cemented in there.
Mm-hmm. When cemented?
What?
I couldn't rhyme, but I can play on words.
Don't you know that's 10 times more expensive than asphalt, sir?
That's why I'm after it right now, man. Come on.
Do you know, I've heard that project has been pushed out by a year just because of timing.
Everything that hits, money. Right? Well, and 11th, too. That was supposed to be a 3-year project that got carried over and everything that went on. That's a massive project. I hear people kind of talk about Regina and never going to change and this and that and density and downtown. How's it going to happen? And I got to tell you, I went to design Regina back in the late 90s and early 2000s. Yeah. I heard the downtown talk, and I didn't really understand why it never happened. And becoming a councillor, I caught on. Every time someone showed an interest, it wasn't just the apartment building they had to get enough investors to put into. It was enough investors to think about the apartment building and then to do an underground research study to figure out how many blocks of infrastructure they have to install over and above the bricks and mortar of the building.
Yeah.
11th Avenue, that Sask Drive project, Dewdney being finished. I think we're set in a good place to actually capitalize on what should be proper interest and to do things once they come through now. And, part of that was just replacing what we needed to, because it's a sealed circuit throughout our city, and that was 100-year-old piping and everything else. But to update the capacity at the same time, I think, is what takes the emptiness out of the words and puts the opportunity in what can actually happen.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Hey, on that note, unfortunately, we are pretty much out of time.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's too bad.
That's a good place to end it on.
Yep.
Thank you, Jason.
I would happily do this for another hour, just talk about city stuff, but yeah.
Come back again.
Yes. You invite me and I will.
Well, you can always just invite yourself.
Okay, I can do that too.
Just show up. We got nothing going on.
Wouldn't be the first time, People chase me out all the time.
So anyways, we should move towards adjournment there.
All right, well, I move we adjourn.
I will second that motion.
You will? Oh, that's perfect, because motion is passed. You've been listening to the Queen City Improvement Bureau on 91.3 FM CJTR, AccessNow Community Radio. Tuned into the community. Your hosts are Paul Deschen and Aidan Morgan. Music by Guidewire, a.k.a. Ryan Hill. We've had the pleasure of talking with Councillor Jason Mancinelli tonight. What else? Have I mentioned our broadcast times? 7 to 8 p.m. on Thursday evenings, live. 3 to 4 p.m. Monday afternoons, rebroadcast. Have I mentioned that, Paul?
You have now.
Excellent.
Our website, have you mentioned that?
Have I mentioned our website, queencityib.com?
You have now.
I have now.
What about our presence on the social media that Councillor Mancinelli loathes?
Social media. Yes, on Blue Sky, and I believe that's it. We're not on X anymore.
No. Or Facebook.
Yeah. What a junk pile. Anywho, that's it. Coming up next, we got the record room, and then musical on through the evening. Keep on improving, Regina. Slowly, room.